Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I will be predicting the entire card for UFC Fight Night, Dos Santos versus Tuivasa. And this is a very packed week with fights. There's fights on Friday, there's fights on Saturdays, big fights here, big fights there. So this stuff will be running together. So I'm gonna try to get this, at least the prelims out pretty quick on this video. Then the main card is gonna be a little bit more detailed than these prelims. But as far as the prelims up to gonna be a little bit fast and just straight to the point. But the main card, I'm gonna do a little bit more detail, just a little bit more detail. But yeah, let's just get into the video. And enough talk. Let's get to the actual talk. So in our first fight on the card, we have in the flyweight division, Elias Garcia versus Kai Kara-France. So looking at Elias Garcia, solid young fighter in the flyweight division. He has a lot of things to be like take note of: good striking, good grappling, solid fighter all around. But that's the thing; he's just solid all around. I'm not really impressed by anything he does too much. It's like he's good, but not impressed too much by anything he is right now. But he can definitely evolve into that. But as of right now, I'm not impressed by anything he has. Kai Kara-France, on the other hand, he was on that. That season of Tough where it was all champions from different leagues in the flyweight division. They were going to fight. Whoever won would fight Demetrius Johnson. Kai Kara-France was on that season. Solid striker, probably the best striker on that season. And already a proven champion. Has decent grappling defense, and his striking is still top notch. I think he'll be able to defend Garcia's grappling and pretty much have a significant advantage on the feet over Garcia. Garcia might be a little bit faster, but Kara-France has the footwork, he has accuracy, he's sharp. He's that dude that knocked out the 6-foot flyweight. He's very sharp with his punches. He knows where to land them. He knows to understand in the range. I think it's just gonna be a case of Elias Garcia not really having an edge nowhere, and Kai Kara-France having a huge advantage on the feet and just taking advantage of that striking advantage, being able to defend the takedowns, and then to pretty much tear Garcia up on the feet. So in this fight, I think it's going to be like he's going to find that mark in the second round, kind of just fill him out and get his range and stuff set up in the first round, get a feel for Garcia, then the second round take him out. So in this fight, I got Kai Kara-France via second round TKO. Then on to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, Damir Ismagulov versus Alex Gorgees. So straight to the point on this one, real straight to the point. Alex Gorgees coming from Australia. Looking at his record, he's 6-0. Yes, he's undefeated, but looking at who he's beat, he's really beaten no one. He's been beating people like 15-16, 16-15, 0-1, 0 this. He's 6-0, but really untested, hasn't beaten anyone of note. Then you got Damir Ismagulov, hasn't really beat anybody of note as well, but he's fighting people that actually has solid records, and he's fighting the tougher circuit in that Russian circuit where it's always all these sambo fighters, all these solid fighters. Now, I'm not saying they know the best circuit in the world, but it's a very tough circuit over there. You got a lot of different styles, and he's not fighting these people that are 0-1, 0-2, 16-15. He's fighting people with respectable records and respectable competitions, and he came out with a solid record. I think 16-2 of a tough circuit and doing that stuff, and he's more experienced. And I think this is going to be the case before somebody in a softer circuit and fighting, even in a soft circuit, you're fighting the softest competition you can fight in that circuit versus some guy who's coming from a pretty tough circuit and has fought some tough fighters and has fared well. I think that's just going to be the case. The experience and the level of competition is going to carry Damir Ismagulov to whatever he wants. But I think it's going to be more of a thorough, throbbing decision. So I got Damir Ismagulov via decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, Keita Nakamura versus Salim Torhari. I'm not too sure how to pronounce his name, but he's going to lose. Looking like a solid fighter. He's the grizzly. He can definitely hold his own on the feet. But his takedown defense isn't the best. His grappling isn't the best. But he definitely can prove to be a true problem on the feet. Definitely a powerhouse and something like that. But Keita Nakamura has solid grappling, solid wrestling, solid jiu-jitsu. I'm going to say solid grappling. He can definitely take you down, hold you down, and make it a very tough night for you, especially for somebody who hasn't been defending that takedown that well. I think Keita Nakamura is going to be able to take him down, use his veteran experience. Also, he's fought in overall much better competition. And he'll be able to use all that experience. He's fought more fights for better competition. Use all that experience just to make it a very long night for Tori. Tori definitely will be some problem on the feet. But Keita Nakamura will be able to take advantage of his aggressiveness, get some takedowns, hold him down in a secure position to a pretty decent enough, I'm not saying decent like an easy decision, but it's like a clear-cut decision. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be clear that his wrestling and grappling is going to be able to, get the judge's attention, or it's gonna be the judge is gonna take note of that. Obviously, when you have it on that control time and taking somebody down and riding on top and stuff, whatever the case is. Keita Nakamura via decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, Mizuto Hirota versus Christos Giagos. Yeah, I think it's Giagos, but yeah. Look at this fight. They're like two fighters that shouldn't even be in the UFC. Like, they're respectable fighters, been around. Like, well, Hirota's been around. Giagos been around for a good little bit, but Hirota's been around for a minute, like a good minute. But it seemed like, as far as their skills, they might be well-rounded on stuff, but it look like they're more like feeder type opponents. Like, they might be good, but they aren't quite good enough. Like, they could definitely be tough and give some young fighters some work, some young up-and-coming fighters some work to like go to that next level, or maybe a fighter that's on a downtrend, that's a top-notch fighter, give them a win to rebound. But as far as them being in the UFC for themselves, I don't know why you got two rebound-type feeder fighters fighting each other. It doesn't make any sense, but maybe they got potential in them. But as far as fight go, I think they might not be the same, but they're similar enough. It's not like in reality, they can have different styles. I'm saying, as far as they're not really too impressive either way. But I think Hirota might be a little bit of a better grappler. Giagos might be a little bit better striker, but he's definitely younger. He's definitely more aggressive. He'll definitely be able to push the pace much longer. And that's what's going to play in his favor. You got Hirota's basically 40. You got Giagos at least not 40, either 20s or 30s, and he's younger, bigger, could push that pace more, and they're close enough that I think that youth is going to be able to edge it for Giagos. So I got a pretty closely contested fight, but I got Giagos winning. So in this fight, I got Christos Giagos via decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the flyweight division, Wilson Reyes versus Ben Nguyen. Ben 10 Nguyen. So a lot of different nicknames for this dude, even though that Ben 10 to win thing I just came up with. Whatever case. Ben Nguyen is a beast on the feet, very explosive, very fast. He can cause some problems even up at bantamweight. This is flyweight right now. He could cause some trouble at bantamweight as well on the feet. He's real dangerous on the feet, real powerful, real sharp. And his grappling not too bad either. But the thing is, Wilson Reyes' grappling is solid. He has a top-notch grappler, and he could definitely cause some issue there. He's a more well-rounded fighter, and I think he has the biggest gap in talent in the area. Like, on the feet, Ben Nguyen, I give him the advantage, but on the ground, Wilson Reyes has a huge advantage. He'll be able to have that strength advantage, be able to take him down and control him. And on the feet, he's savvy enough to at least avoid the power, not fall into any, or get caught by anything. Even though Ben Nguyen doesn't even need to have you get caught by anything, he can set you up for stuff. I'm just saying, Wilson Reyes can at least mix it up enough so that Ben Nguyen can't really find his shot that well, or not as much as he needs to find it to secure the win, or get that knockout, or get that drop, or whatever he needs to edge it to the way. I think Wilson Reyes will be able to, change level, mix it up, get some takedowns, control him. And I see a third round submission for Wilson Reyes. It's going to be like a breakdown effect. It's definitely going to be a competitive fight, but Wilson Reyes is going to eventually be able to find his time, and when we get one takedown, it's going to be more takedowns. When he gets more grappling, going to see how Ben Nguyen's reacting to stuff. Then in the later rounds, he's going to pretty much have him kind of figure it out, and then be able to find that submission. So in this fight, I got Wilson Reyes via third round submission. Then on to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, Yushin Okami versus Alexei Kuchenko. I think that's what I'm going to call him, Kuchenko. So Kuchenko, I think he had a little bit of hype coming behind him when he first came to UFC. Then he fought he fought Thiago Alves. Alexander. He fought Thiago Alves, veteran of the UFC, long time top 10 welterweight. But those days are behind him, and he fought him to a very close fight. He had a very close fight that Thiago Alves was in until the final round. It could have went either way. Then in the third round, Alex Kuchenko finally turned up out of gear and beat the fighter. But it seemed like you come in the UFC against Thiago Alves, you're supposed to be like an actor, like you really want to prove something in the UFC and be a top contender. You got to kind of just run through Thiago Alves at this point. And then he really just kind of kept up with him. And he was fighting like a weird, worn out fighter, just like Thiago Alves is, basically. The pace was slow. Then eventually he kind of found his pace. But all that being said, he's not fighting Thiago Alves. I think his striking is pretty solid. Not the most impressive, not the most power, but it's pretty solid. He's technical, but he's not that technical. He's not that solid. He's not that impressive of a striker. His grappling's okay. But you're going against Yushin Okami, who you might think he might not be a top middleweight no more, but he's not in the middleweight division. He's in the welterweight division. He's not even in the top 10 welterweights right now. So he's still fighting not a beginner, but like a more entry level kind of UFC fighter as far as in the welterweight division. He might not like entry level as talent, but I'm talking about he's not in the top 20, top 30. He's probably outside that. That's what I'm talking about, entry level as far as UFC goes. He's not that breakout talent yet. So Yushin Okami is going to be having more than enough to cause some trouble. He's still going to have that size, still have that grappling. And even since leaving the UFC, he has only lost to over the past couple years, his losses have been John Fitch, Jacare, and what's his name, David Branch, all solid names. So Kuchenko's not on the caliber, even close to the caliber of those people, and you can't say, he lost to these people, so he could be them now. Uchikami's still a very solid fighter, at least with what he has left. Still has the size, still has the grappling, and I think he can oppose his grappling, and he can hang with Kuchenko on the feet enough and mix in the grappling and win a pretty clear decision. So in this fight, I got Yushin Nakami using his veteran experience. So Yushin Nakami via decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, Suma Mokhtarian versus Sadiq Yusuf. So I'm not even going to give Suma any respect really off this. Like, look at his record. He's coming to UFC 8-0. I guess that's supposed to be impressive. Then you look at he came to his last fight before the UFC, somebody 0-1. Like somebody that probably has skills and trains around pretty decent gym and had decent people around him. But he was in the easiest competition he could find, it looking like. You could probably stack all his wins together, all 8 of his wins together, and they probably wouldn't have 8 wins combined. So, like, he's been fighting it's easy of competitions he could find and submitting all of them. But Sadiq Yusuf, his competition might not be the most impressive either, but it's at least like he's been trying to fight the best people can fight. And the person he fought to get in the UFC or on the Contender Series was another prospect who was supposed to beat him. Solid, like both of them were solid prospects. They both had the athleticism, they both had the technical thing, like people that you could build and potentially be UFC standouts in the future. They're both young and both have all the intangibles. They just need to get that experience and build himself up. So he actually fought somebody at least on that caliber, same caliber as him, and he proved and toughed it out, showed good technique, showed good striking, showed good ring awareness. And that's going to give him all the respect over Suma Mokhtarian, who's been having an easy fight. I think Sadiq's going to be able to chop his legs out, piece him up on the feet, show him some real competition, just knock him out. I think it'll be like a second round, break his legs, break his body, break his chin, take him out of there. So in this fight, I got Sadiq Yusuf via second round TKO. Then on to our next fight.